Let's talk about some romance books that are gonna have you absolutely laughing, blushing, kicking your feet, and possibly crying. These are some of my absolute all-time favorite romances, and you need to read them. Hey besties, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I haven't done one of these videos in literally so long, and I'm honestly just so excited to sit down and talk to you guys about some of my all-time favorite romances, why they're my favorites, what's good about them, so many things. We're here to literally just have a little yap sesh and talk about some love books, and I'm so excited. I love love. So let's talk about some of my all-time favorite romances that you need to read if you haven't already. The first book I want to talk about is actually an entire series, and would you believe it if I said that this is my favorite romance series I've ever read, and I actually do not own a single one of these books physically because I just keep waiting for the right moment to get them. I did read them all on Kindle because they are all on Kindle Unlimited, and if you're not new here, then you know what I'm about to say, and if you are new here, I'm gonna tell you that that is the Eden series by Devoney Perry. The Edens is a series that completely caught me off guard, which I feel like most books that you absolutely love do that, but I was genuinely excited to read these books when I started them, but I had no idea at the time how much these books would genuinely mean to me. It was at a time where I would watch Sarah's videos and she was falling in love with Magnolia Parks, and it was like all she would talk about, which like as she should, but it was literally just making me wish that I had something like that I loved a series on the level that I feel like she loved Magnolia Parks. I was absolutely longing to just love a book in a series that way, and then I read the Edens, and here we are. Now I love this entire series. Literally every single book in this series is so good. It is a 5-star series for me. Can't recommend it more. It is a small town romance series, but they do all have a little bit of a mystery twist. Mystery slash crime, we'll say. But I do specifically want to talk about Juniper Hill, which is the second book in the series. It is my favorite romance book I have read to date, and that book has quite literally written itself on my soul. So like I said, this series is small town romance, but they also have mystery crime aspect to it as well, which obviously helps with the intrigue. But this one specifically is kind of like a forced proximity and a single parent trope, specifically single mom. And I love the single parent trope, and this is genuinely where my love for that trope came from, because it was the first single parent trope I had ever read. And it's literally nothing has ever lived up to it. Okay, anyways, continuing. Basically, we have Memphis, and she needs to get out of the city. She needs to find a job somewhere else so she can support her and her son Drake. She comes across a job listing for Quincy, Montana at the Eloise Inn, and she interviews for it. She gets the job, but she can't find housing in her price range in Quincy. There's just nothing available, so she turns down the job. But Eloise, being Eloise, needs her to take this job. She wants to work with her so bad, so she says, no, please take the job. I will have housing for you when you get here. And said housing is Knox's guest suite above his garage. And he literally only accepts the offer because of how much he loves his sister. But this grumpy exterior is literally the most golden retriever simpy inside ever. I love him. I love him. Okay. The love between Knox and Memphis is so absolutely pure and just so beautiful. I love just the progression, seeing them fall in love. I think about it all the time. I have reread this book, and it just means so much to me because not only is Knox completely in love with Memphis, and he does some amazing things for her as a human being, but he also does amazing things for her on a like mom level that literally just touched my soul as someone who is a mom. But not only is he just completely in love with Memphis, and you can just see it and you can feel it, he is so completely in love with Drake, and he just steps into this role of a father so graciously without even being asked, and he just does it because he genuinely falls in love with Drake, and it's just so unbelievably sweet. And I just thinking about that book genuinely just makes me like want to cry, if I'm being so honest. So much of this book and of this series in general, but specifically of Juniper Hill, I remember in complete full detail. I think about certain quotes in that book all the time. Like, that book lives rent-free in my mind. The town, the family, the world is quite literally always on my mind. And when Taylor said, I hate it here, so I will go to Secret Gardens in my mind, Quincy, Montana and the Eden series is My Secret Garden. Okay, so now that I just yapped at you about my all-time favorite romance series ever, we're gonna move on and stop literally doing what I was just doing. I don't even know. Next book is The Stand-In by Lily Chu. The quick little rundown behind me reading this book was I had a physical copy, but I saw it was actually on free for Audible. So if you have Audible, it is free on Audible, so you should listen to it. I really enjoyed listening to the audiobook of this. I thought it was so, so good. I never thought that I would give an audiobook 5 stars, but this one did in fact get 5 stars. We have Closed Door, we have fake dating, and we have a celebrity identity swap going on in this book. It was so good, literally. But to actually describe this book a little bit more so you understand what's going on, we basically follow our main character Gracie, and she is approached by this really famous Chinese actress named Wei Fang Li, and basically is asking her to take her spot when it comes to going to parties, red carpet events with her supposed boyfriend Sam, so she can keep up her public appearance while focusing on more important aspects of her job. And she really doesn't get along with Sam. She thinks he's super arrogant, doesn't like him, and the only reason she says yes is because she needs the money that she would get in return for her mom. So you follow Gracie and our main male character Sam as she is acting like Wei Fang Li, and he's obviously acting like himself because he doesn't need to act like anybody else. And you just kind of see them going from not really liking each other, butting heads, to starting to become friends, to falling in love with each other, and it's so sweet. I have read all 4 of this author's books and I love every single one of them. This is just the main one I'm talking about right now, but her writing is so spectacular. I feel like the way that this story moves, it's more than a romance. There's just so much love and so many different dynamics and aspects in this book, and it's just so beautifully done. This also has like a few other like kind of bigger, deeper things going on. It's just so freaking beautiful. Sam is genuinely so sweet to her. It's so fun and amazing to watch. And I say watch because this is one of those books that genuinely felt like a movie. Like it felt like I was watching a movie. So like I would pause my audiobook because I needed to do something or say something to Makai, and then I'd literally be like, oh, I need to push play on my show. And then I'd have to be like, wait, I'm not watching a show, I'm listening to a book. Like it's one of those things. This book is so completely captivating, fun, charming, just so many things all wrapped into one very pretty little package. And another thing that I did really enjoy about this book is our main female character Gracie. She is mixed, and so she does talk in this book about her experience being mixed in the workplace and just in society in general. And as someone who is raising a mixed son, and any children I have in the future will obviously also be mixed, it was really nice to kind of read about someone's perspective that actually has to live that life, because obviously that's not something that I live and have to experience. But seeing what he could potentially deal with growing up was really eye-opening and just a really good read. So this is obviously a 5-star read and I can't recommend it more. And next we have A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. Now this book, when it came out, there was so many mixed reviews going on. A lot of people were super excited about this book but felt like it fell flat for them. They just couldn't connect with the story or the characters. But obviously, since it's on this list and we're talking about it, that is not the experience I had. This is actually my favorite book I've read from her. Now I still haven't read The Dead Romantics, but between The 7-Year Slip and this one, this is my favorite. I don't know what happened to me when I read this, but things were happening to my soul, okay? Because I loved it so much. All of Ashley Poston's books are magical realism, but this one in particular follows our main character Elsie, and she is a reader just like all of us. She loves to read a book and escape reality for a little bit, and she's on her way to her yearly trip down in, I don't even remember where it is, but I think it's like a cabin trip. That could be wrong. It was a while ago when I read this, but she's on her way and her car basically breaks down and she gets stuck in this small town until her car gets fixed. Come to find out, this small town is actually her favorite fictional town from her favorite romance series ever, and she's somehow in this town. Is that not every reader's dream? Truly. Because I know that if I could choose to spend a week in Quincy, Montana with my favorite characters, I would in a heartbeat. But while she's there, she ends up meeting Anders, and she cannot for the life of her place where in this series he falls. She can't remember if he's a side character, if he's a main character, what book he's from, if he was gonna be like a main character in like a newer book, but the author of this series passed away, so they'll never know. Like, she cannot place him, so she starts trying to like hang out with him while she's stuck there, get to know him and figure out where he's in this universe. But as she gets to know him, as he gets to know her, her, they end up obviously falling in love. But obviously she thinks he's a fictional character in this fictional world, and that would just never work in reality. That's all I'm gonna say. This book is so freaking incredible. This had me laughing, kicking my feet, blushing. This had me sobbing at times. There is honestly, the end of this book literally had me crying hardcore, but it is so good. I genuinely can't recommend this book enough. And honestly, just her in general, her writing is so good. Can't recommend it more. It was just so good. Okay, give it a read if you haven't already. And next we have By a Thread by Lucy Score. Now, this is a book that I actually read back in 2023, so it's been almost 2 years since I read this, but I still think about this quite frequently, actually, and I genuinely really loved this book, and I know a lot of other people did, and maybe you've already read this, maybe you haven't, maybe you've heard 10 million other book creators talk about this book, and now you're gonna listen to me talk about it for a minute. I will say though, fair warning, this book is pretty lengthy, and it sits at 548 pages, so for a romance book, it's pretty big, but it's worth every single page in my personal and professional opinion, okay? This book is a slow burn workplace, grumpy sunshine romance. We basically have Dominic and Allie. Dominic gets Allie fired from her job at a pizza shop, and at the time he is there with his mom, who just so happens to be the CEO of a magazine company that he also works at, and she ends up giving Allie a job because her son obviously got her fired, and now they have to work in the same office and work together. So it's also giving a little bit of like enemies to lovers, but like not really, but like also a little bit, because obviously they don't like each other because he got her fired, and well, he got her fired. But yeah, obviously he's not too happy about the fact that his mom gave her a job. But I just love Lucy Score's writing. I honestly genuinely do believe that all 548 pages of this is worth it. I loved the amount of time that we were able to spend with them, see them kind of fall in love, and really get a lot about their past and like what makes them them and what makes them tick. There's so much about this book that's fun. The banter, the tension, there's so much fun stuff like that. But there's also a lot of other deep stuff in this book that is really sad, and it's just a great mixture of both. I feel like this genuinely is a book that I feel like I could reread 1,000 times and love it the same every single time and just never get tired of it. And I literally still think about the ending of this book so frequently, because the way that I actually genuinely cried for like 20 minutes straight while finishing this book, and that's not even an exaggeration because I genuinely got it all on film. It's literally in a reading vlog from 2 years ago, so I'm not lying. I literally sobbed for 20 minutes finishing this. It was so beautiful and sweet, and I just can't even express. I just can't. This book is honestly just such a fun, beautiful, and emotional ride between two people who have tons of problems on their own, but somehow find a way to still love each other through it all. 10 out of 10 recommend. Absolute 5-star read. Now we're gonna move on to some books that are still 5-star reads for me, but are books that maybe I don't think about as frequently as the other ones, but they're still books that I would highly recommend and I do still think about on a regular basis. And we're gonna try to move a little bit quicker because I feel like I'm yapping your little ears off. So first we have Something from Tiffany's by Melissa Hill. This is actually the very last book I read in 2022. So this is quite a long time ago that I read this book, and it still has held up in my mind as one of my favorite romances I've ever read. It's closed door, and it just feels like one of those fairy tales where everything is going wrong, but in order for the right thing to happen, everything has to go wrong, and there's just no other way to go about it. In this book, we basically follow two couples who are both from Ireland. I'm pretty sure it's been a while since I read it, but they're both visiting New York for Christmas time, and these two couples' lives intersect for such a short moment, and none of them could have predicted that that one teensy tiny little moment would drastically change the outcome of their entire lives. This book has happiness, sadness, heartbreak, confusion. I mean, it quite literally has so many different emotions all wrapped up into one. It was so fun, so beautiful. I thoroughly enjoyed my time reading this, and I would highly recommend it to literally anyone, but maybe it would be better saved for those winter months when you need a little bit of magic. All right, besties, now, if you have heard me talk about these two books before, then you are probably an OG, or you've literally went back and watched all my old videos, because the next two books we're going to be talking about are quite literally the first two romance books I ever read read in my entire life. I'm not even kidding. And that is The Worst Best Man and The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa. Yes, I'm not kidding. These are the first two romance books I've ever read in my life, and they are still two of my favorite romance books I've ever read. They hold such a special place in my heart that I don't think will ever go away. So first, let's talk about The Worst Best Man, because this is technically the first in the series, because these are kind of like interconnected standalones because our two main female characters are related. So The Worst Best Man, we have Max and Lena. Max is Lena's ex-fiance's brother, and she believes that he's the reason that he dumped her at the altar. You literally heard that right. He just did not show up to that wedding. So now years later, for whatever reason, their jobs are working together and they get paired up for a project, and obviously they don't like each other. Well, more so Lena actually despises Max. The hate is more coming from her side, to be honest. But regardless, it's giving enemies to lovers, forced proximity, so good. This is also a spicy romance for those of you who would like to know that information. But the banter, the tension, literally so much of this book was, why do I keep doing that? Because that's how I feel. This book was so good, and I literally feel like it's so underhyped. It's an incredible romance book. It's just so underhyped in my opinion. I've actually been thinking about rereading both of these books recently. So let's move on to The Wedding Crasher. I honestly would have to say this is probably my favorite of the two, which is kind of crazy, but I just loved this book so much. This is where my love for fake dating came from. So this is a fake dating strangers to friends to lovers romance, and oh my god, everything about it was so good. So basically we have Salone and Dean, and Salone literally does exactly what it says. She crashes his wedding and quite literally ends up ruining his wedding to where he does not get married and they break up. But now he needs a girlfriend so that he can get a specific assignment at work, because if he does not have a significant other, he will not be getting that assignment. And she literally agrees because she feels so bad that she broke up his wedding. And so from there, the fake dating begins, and like I said, I love fake dating, and this is where it started. This book has spice, humor, banter, two strangers becoming friends and then falling in love along the way. The ending of this book is literally one of my favorite endings in a book ever. I still think about the ending of this book specifically, probably on a bi-weekly basis. I just randomly am like, oh my god, I can't believe how that ended. It was so good. It was so sweet. It was so perfect. I literally want to cry every time I think about the ending of this book because it was just that good in my personal opinion. And another thing that I did really enjoy about these two books is the fact that our main two female characters are Black and Brazilian. So there are like times in this book where they are speaking to like their family members and they're speaking in Portuguese. Now, could I understand and could I read those sentences in that dialogue? No, I don't know how to speak Portuguese, but I thought it was really cool that Mia Sosa like included that in the book. For those people who do know how to speak Portuguese, that would be really cool for y'all. I thought it was cool and I can't even speak it, but like it would be extra cool for you guys because you could actually read it. I still to this day, honestly, I don't know why I didn't just look up what those sentences meant like on Google Translate, because I still to this day do not know what they were talking about in those instances, but I literally just thought it was so cool that I didn't care. So yeah, both of these are 5-star reads for me. I love them and I think about them a lot. Okay, besties, you have made it. Congratulations. You've made it to the rapid fire section. Thank you for sticking along with me for this long because I know I was just yapping your ear off, but we're gonna go through some of my 4- and 5-star reads that I would highly recommend. I might not think about them as much as the other ones, but I still think about them every now and again, and they are like very fond and near and dear to my heart. So let's get into it. First, we have Magnolia Parks. Now, I still need to continue the series. I've only read this one, but I really loved this book. I think that this could end up being a series that is one of my favorite series ever if I would just give the other books a read, and eventually I will, okay? But if you love Gossip Girl, you are gonna love this. Next, we have Archer's Voice and Travis by Mia Sheridan. This is a interconnected standalone series. These are definitely more emotional books, specifically Archer's Voice. This deals with a lot of like deep topics, and it's a very heartbreaking but beautiful love story. If you're wanting a more romance that is probably gonna tug at your heartstrings and is gonna potentially really make you cry, this is definitely a good one for that situation. And then Travis is his redemption story because he is quite literally a grade A asshole in this book, and my sister didn't particularly love this one, but I actually really enjoyed it. I thought the couple was really sweet, and I do think that Travis got his redemption, so I would highly recommend these. They're really sweet. Small town, strangers to friends to lovers. You know, it's just a good vibe, okay? Then we have the Twisted series by Anna Huang. Now, this is a series that I absolutely loved when I read it, and this is a 5-star series for me, with the first book, Twisted Love, and the last one, Twisted Lies, being a 4-star, and then the second and third books being 5 stars. These were so good. Now, I don't think about them very frequently, but I literally loved them so much and had an amazing time reading them. I read them all back to back, and it was literally the time of my life, let me tell you. Twisted Love is brother's best friend. Twisted Games is bodyguard / forbidden romance. Twisted Hate is best friend's brother / enemies to lovers, from the hate you feel. And Twisted Lies is a fake dating strangers to lovers romance. Next we have Better Than the Movies and The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. These are both 5-star reads for me. They both have some fake dating in it. Better Than the Movies though is young adult, and The Love Wager is adult, so this one does have spice. This one obviously does not. I absolutely devoured these. These are obviously some pretty popular books, but they are popular for a reason. They are not overhyped in my brain. These are actually quite literally as good as everyone makes them seem, and that I am now making them seem. Both 5 stars. I think I said that. But anyways, The Love Hypothesis by Allie Hazelwood. I loved this. This is another fake dating. I told y'all I loved it, and I was literally not lying to you. The pure love and admiration between our 2 main characters in this book was just so, oh, it just felt so real to me, and it was just so beautiful to watch. This does have spice, but I literally only remember there being 1 sex scene in this book, so it's not too much spice. So if you're someone that likes a little bit less spice and you don't want it throughout the whole book, this is a great option. And it literally had me kicking my feet, giggling. I was literally obsessed. I think about it. I still think about them quite frequently, and I would highly recommend 5 stars. The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I was hyping her up earlier, and let me just say, this one is also amazing. Also a 5-star read. Absolutely loved this. Her books are just so magical, so beautiful. Her writing is incredible. Like, there's so much I could say about this book, a novel love story, and just her writing in general, but we're gonna leave it at that. You should read it. Heartless by Elsie Silver. Now, I say this one specifically because I haven't finished the series, and I actually really didn't enjoy Flawless, the first book, all that much, but this one I literally loved so much. This is a single dad nanny romance, and it was so good. Absolutely loved it. There was only literally 1 scene in this book that docked it from a 5 to a 4.75 stars for me, but other than that, I absolutely loved it. And also, it's a cowboy romance, so it's literally amazing in that sense. If you want heartbreak in a book, read Binding 13. This is a 5-star read for me. I still need to read the rest in this series, but this was beautiful and sad and just literally so many things, but mostly heartbreak. Highly recommend, but also look up trigger warnings. And lastly, we have the Rebel Blue Ranch series by Lila Sage. I have currently only read Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled. I just recently picked up Lost and Lassoed. So excited to read that. And obviously Wild and Wrangled comes out in April. So I'm very excited to read those next 2, but I really have enjoyed both of these. They are small town cowboy romances, but unlike the Chestnut Spring series, these are a bit smaller, which is always honestly good if you ever just need a small short read, and they're so fun. Like, genuinely, these are such a fun ride, and I loved both of them. We have a 4 and a 4.5 star read. So that is all of the books. That's all my romance book recommendations for this freaking video. I know this video isn't actually as long as I've been filming, but I've been filming for 46 minutes. So I just yapped your guys' ears off. If you are still listening to me talk at this point in the video, literally thank you so much for watching the whole video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you are not subscribed, you should definitely subscribe, because we have a lot of fun over here and we want you to join the fun. And I actually feel ridiculous saying that sometimes, but it's just like a thing now. Like, I just say it every time. I feel like I have to continue to say it. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed. I know I already said that, but I really hope you did. So that is all for today's video. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. And I love my new camera, because why does this look so good? I'm about to listen to the progression of falling in love. My channel. Huh? What am I saying? Above. Not guest bedroom. I love it. Also, the fact that this camera did not stop recording on me when it got to 29 minutes is amazing. They are each other's doppelganger. What am I saying? Is a series. Jesus. Completely cough. Whoa. Hello? Oh my god. Hello? So, she... Oh my god. Hello? I am struggling right now. This is crazy. I'm like actually struggling. Wow. I'm like having a yapathon right now. The way that I've already been talking 18 minutes and I've only talked about 2 books. Obviously, it's not 18 minutes for you, but that's crazy. Regular... author's book, which basically actually what just happened to me? I like glitched there. Okay, and that's not even an whoa. Little Drake, like literal tiny little baby. About some I literally are black in Brazil. Whoa. And I literally just spit on my camera, guys. I don't know how I did that, but my brand new camera and I just spit on her. Like, whoops. And I don't want to like, oh no. Oh shit. I'm gonna need to get a cloth to clean that. That one is a 4.75. Oh wait, I said that. We started off friends, how we end up here, I don't know, but I don't see no problem. Bye.